Hi everybody, this is Agnes from Sediment, and today we are going rogue. We are pairing fine wine with junk food. I want to take away the stigma that fine wine is only about fancy restaurants, special celebrations, and galas. That bottle was made to be opened and enjoyed. And we do not always need to prepare a 6, 8, or 10-course meal to open something nice. If anything, fast food, and yes, even junk food, can be filled with a bunch of flavors. Think oiliness, saltiness, sweetness, and umami. All of those flavors just scream for a good glass of wine. So why not drop the posh cape and monocle to enjoy simpler food with some fine wine? You strip away the coldness and intimidation that often comes with fine dining. And be honest, doesn't that feel a little bit rebellious? Saying this, I am not your biggest fast food or junk food fan. I love good, honest home cooking. But once in a while, I do enjoy a nice burger and definitely pizza. There are some amazing fast food and fine wine pairings, and in this video, I really wanted to include popcorn and champagne. It is something truly incredible, and I invite everyone to try it. But apparently, popcorn is not fast enough or greasy enough to qualify as fast or junk food, so we are leaving it out today. Instead, we are having classic burger, and I'm not talking about your homemade burger, which I know has nothing fast about it. I have made them at home and they require quite a bit of time and preparation. We are going for McDonald's. Now, with fancier burger, where you can even choose how well or rare you want your meat cooked, I would probably go straight to a classic red Bordeaux or Northern Rhone Syrah. If the meat has been aged, back vintage would support the burger even better. Earthiness with earthiness. But for McDonald's, I would look for something lighter and easier, though still packing a lot of acidity. Something that cuts through that oiliness and refreshes the palate. I was thinking about lighter style Blanc Frankish, or the one I have in front of me, Beaujolais Cru. In this case, it is Chateau du Moulin-a-Vent single plot Les Verillats. And this is how the tastings will go. I will start with wine. I will quickly taste and assess the wine. Then I will taste the food. And then I will taste the combination food and wine together. And then we can discuss the shortcomings, the compliments, and whether or not they actually work together, whether or not they actually go together. So let's start with wine. This is beautiful. It has these really ripe forest berries, wild berries. You think of blueberries and blackberries. This is really beautiful. And you know, Moulin-a-Vent is actually one of the most structured, one of the most full-bodied Beaujolais crus you can actually find. And I have a feeling that it should go really well with this food. Let's taste the wine. I mean, the tannin here, it's really structured, it's really beautiful, it has a grip. It is not mouth coating, you know, or too much or too high. It is just adding structure, adding kick to the otherwise really opulent and quite lush fruit. Acidity is lively. I was maybe expecting it to be a bit higher here for this specific dish, but let's taste it. How do I do this? Oh, there are 3 patties. This is patty. This is the okay. Okay. It's greasy. All right. So it is not that bad. And actually, what was surprising to me, there's quite a lot of acidity. But the meat, there is a bit of that meaty texture. There's quite a lot of, crunchiness from the salad. But the sauce, and maybe I was biting into a cucumber or the pickle, but the sauce and the pickle together, it creates quite acidic feel on the palate. So this is interesting, and I wonder how it's going to act together with wine. So let's have another bite and try it with wine. I think they're playing quite nicely together. I was not expecting McDonald's burger to actually taste so earthy, so beefy. So I would want to say that maybe flavor-wise, like on the nose, this wine seems too fruit forward, too fruit driven to actually make this perfect pairing with this specific dish. So here maybe a bit older vintage of Beaujolais Cru would pair more nicely with this specific burger. Saying this, on the palate, I did like how they married together. I thought that the acidity in the burger actually made this wine even fuller. It highlighted the fruit, it made the fruit sweeter, not sweet tasting on the palate, not sugar, but just sweeter fruit overall. And it slightly rounded the edges of this wine. It also made the tannins seem more softer somehow. So on the palate, I think that both of them really beautifully married. But you know, when we talk about food and wine pairing, we also always mention how they are marrying together on the nose, you know, the aromas of them. And here I felt that maybe this was a bit too earthy for perfect pairing for this one, because this is just fruit bomb. And I'm not saying fruit bomb in the bad way, because sometimes there are wines that you taste and they're just fruit bombs to appeal for greater public. But this is just really expressive and really delicate, juicy, fruit-driven wine. I will give this pairing 8.5 stars out of 10 stars. Now, pizza is not something I truly consider fast food, despite the fact that it can be made super quickly and devoured even faster. I am not your margarita girly. I will always go for spicy toppings, think of chorizo or nduja. So in best case scenario, we have top quality dough, a generous tomato sauce bringing acidity, mozzarella adding creaminess, and some sausage for spice and kick. For especially spicy pizzas, I would look for wines with lower alcohol levels, so it would not be the perfect time to open your Amarone, Primitivo, or Barbera. Even though Barbera actually sounds really great as it has high acidity and tends to have softer tannins. I would go for lighter style Chianti Classico or Rosso di Montalcino. Here I want my wine to lean towards the lighter style. Brunello or Gran Selezione might have too much ego, so they would play the dominant role. Instead, we want tannin that does not overpower the fruit, lively acidity, and moderate body. In my glass, we have Rosso di Montalcino from Poggio di Sotto, and I might be cheating here a little bit because they say that their wine could actually be classified as Brunello, but they taste the wines and they decide that it is not up to the quality they require for their Brunellos. So we do have Rosso di Montalcino, we have pizza. Should we taste? Okay, it smells really good. So at first, I will smell and taste the wine. We do have these really ripe strawberries, raspberries, sour cherries, but this wine has seen some old oak, so there are some earthy flavors as well, which I think goes really well, or should at least go really well with pizza. This has been baked in wood oven, so that's completely different story here. Lively acidity, quite firm, but I would say really beautifully managed tannin texture. And we have those sour cherries as well. Let's try the food. Whoa. All right, so there is a lot of saltiness, but there's also the creaminess from the mozzarella. And I do feel some of that spiciness, that kick, that pepperiness in the back of my palate. So this is the moment we should taste it together with wine. I will be drunk by the end of this tasting. It is much harder to spit wine out when you do eat. I think in this specific scenario, me cheating made the things a bit worse. I kind of wanted to open this really beautiful and magnificent bottle, which is Poggio di Sotto Rosso di Montalcino, because it has quite a lot of character on its own. It is maybe slightly taking over the pizza, but not too much. It's not overpowering it completely because this pizza also has a lot of character. I mean, and it actually plays quite nicely with that firmness of the tannin here. I think as you go over the course of the dinner, this fancy dinner with pizza in front of me out of the box, it will actually get better and better because the oiliness, the richness of this pizza, the texture, it is just really beautifully cut through with a high acidity, with really unapologetically beautiful, crisp acidity this wine offers. And thankfully, that meatiness from the sausage, that slightly spicy sausage, also offers a bit of like a shoulder, you know, kind of fighting back the tannins, you know, and the body of the wine. I do not feel any unpleasant aftertaste, you know, nothing bitter, nothing burning. I think overall they are supporting each other quite beautifully, and I will give 7 stars out of 10 for this pairing I created. Now, bucket of fried chicken wings or thighs is something I have never been the greatest fan of. 2 things have to be right to really enjoy this dish. The skin or coating must be crispy. If it's soggy, forget about it. And the sauce. Now, if it's just straight chicken with no sauce whatsoever, believe it or not, the first thing that popped in my mind was champagne. The crispy, toasty flavors of the skin or coating that has seen plenty of oil, and champagne's acidity to cleanse the palate, with bubbles adding even more freshness, all while complementing those toasty, brioche notes. Absolutely yes, in my books. But when we start experimenting with sauces, or as in this case, when it's wrapped in a bunch of secret spices, we also have to think about those flavors. So I still want acidity, but I also want character and flavor intensity that unapologetically stands proudly next to the food. And today, I have chosen Vin Jaune. So we have Vin Jaune from Domaine Bourdy. We have visited this estate. It is absolutely amazing people behind the wine, and this specific has been aged at least 7 years under the yeasty film voile. It is not as thick as in Jerez, and Vin Jaune is never fortified, even though sometimes the alcohol can be quite high. This is actually quite moderate for Vin Jaune. This is 14.5, but what we do have here is still that saltiness, that richness, that earthiness. Some people describe it as curry flavors. I don't necessarily find that aroma here, but it is salted almonds, salted slightly toasted almonds, skinned almonds. It is crispy fish skin, it is seaweed, there is this beautiful earthiness to the wine. I'm not saying there is no fruit, there is fruit, but the fruit is rather crushed and ripe. So this is just beautiful. So we have this really ripe tangerine. We have maybe, you know, slightly oxidized crushed mango, but mango peel, you know, because it has also some of that earthiness as well. And I do feel those sour orange and yellow plums. The grape here is always Savagnin. Savagnin is a grape variety that is really high in acidity, so it should cut through that fattiness, that oiliness we have here in the bucket. I mean, isn't this lovely? I could enjoy this wine just on its own. It is complete wine. We don't need to, we don't need to eat this. Okay, let's try it. I don't mind fast food at all, but this is something that I do not enjoy. And my hands are greasy just by looking at it. Okay, let's try. Okay. I don't know, can you see it? But the one good thing about this, it's actually quite juicy. There's nothing dry about it inside. It is really juicy. The skin is a bit soggy, but maybe it is because I was talking so much about it. And it's really flavorsome. There is a lot of flavors in here. There's nothing dry. And the toastiness is there, but it's more, yeah, it's more spicy. Stay where you are. And even without finishing the bite, I can tell you right away, I am reaching for the glass because it is indeed quite oily and rich, and you want something acidic to cut through that palate, to cut through, to refreshen the palate. And I just can't wait to have a sip of this wine. Oh, wow. I was not expecting it to be so good. This is really beautiful. Wow. I think with the wine, I even like the KFC better. It's just amazing. Because the wine has a lot of character and it is towards the fuller bodied style, it beautifully pairs well with this dish. And the richness of this dish does not have power to take over the wine, so they're really equal. They're playing in equal leagues. But then we have the acidity, and it is really the dominant part in this wine, and it just cuts through the oiliness. It just refreshes the palate. And because of the saltiness of this dish, it also opens up the fruit flavors of the wine, because when you smell it on its own, it is more savory, it is more earthy, but now together with the dish, it kind of opens up some of those locked fruit. It just lets them shine. I am surprised. I was not expecting it to be so good. It is amazing. It is going in my book. I will give this pairing 10 stars. Potato chips or crisps, depending where you're from, no competition. Hands down, it's always going to be champagne. Now, this is one fast food that I love a lot. This is not fast food, this is junk food. But this is something that I personally am oftentimes guilty of, and I love it. And we are going to open it with champagne. All right, of course we can talk about different flavors of the chips, and then it will require different kind of wine. But when we are talking about the ultimate chips or crisps, you actually want to have those flavors of potato itself, you know, and then some saltiness, and that's it. A bit of oiliness will always be there because you know how they are prepared. But let's start with wine actually. So we have here Pierre Peter's Blanc de Blanc. So Pierre Peters is Chardonnay guru. Actually, the producer or the name behind the label is Rudolf Peters. And he is the one who's also helping Brad Pitt with his champagne winemaking. Which I find funny because Rudolf Peters is Chardonnay guru, as I told you. He is master of Chardonnay, master of Blanc de Blanc, and yet Brad Pitt's wine is pink. So that's interesting. I like their wines quite a lot because I think they're really beautifully terroir driven, terroir shaped. So they have ability to retain the terroir expression while at the same time still making that wine really approachable and really, really lovely on the palate. So there's nothing hard, nothing austere, and nothing unapproachable about that wine. Okay. Beautiful nose. We have brioche tones, we have freshly baked bread, and you know, that nose somehow plays together with the toastiness that we have here in this bag. But at the same time, you have yellow apple, you have orange, you have tangerine, you have some florals in it. Really lively. There's some nerviness, some energy as well. Creamy bubble. This is something I love about the champagne. The bubble is always seamless. It is just so perfectly integrated within the wine itself. You almost don't feel it. Yes, it is there when you pay attention to it, but otherwise it is just part of the wine. It is just part of the texture. It is a part of a whole complete experience. Amazing. You are beautiful. Let's eat some chips. Not particularly salty. Or maybe after all of the salty and really rich and intense foods, the chips now seem a bit, I don't want to say plain, but they just seem a bit not as intense as other foods that I tried. But you know what? On the finish, I actually have that toasty, that fried potato element, and I really like it. This is the reason why I love the chips so much. This is my ultimate joy. Simple food with amazing wine. This is something that I love so much. I think there is some dissonance though, because Pierre Peters is so present on the palate. It has this really lively, beautiful acidity. It just takes over on the beginning. And then somehow the oiliness, the crunch, that potato element, that potato flavor starts to go through and finishes. Because the flavors are not marrying that well, they are kind of playing separate roles on the palate. So champagne is what dominates the palate on the beginning, and potato crisps is what dominates on the finish. And I would kind of want them to play with each other, to complement each other better. So for this specific reason, no, let's try again. No, let's start. Yeah, I will give this pairing 7 points. 7 stars. No, we're giving stars. I will give 7 stars. Now, isn't fish and chips more like a fancy type of fast food? Still, we want to have that crispy coating, which most certainly will be rich and oily. The fish inside should be anything but plain and still filled with a lot of juicy texture. Please don't be dry. So once again, I would be looking for a wine with nice acidity to cut through that fattiness, but also with some toastiness and fuller mid palate to complement the buttery flavors of the coating and juicy texture of the fish. I don't know why, but my first choice was white Bordeaux, and I will stick to my guts. So I have 2023 vintage Chateau Carbonneau, and it is around 80% Semillon and around 20% Sauvignon Blanc. It has been aged in oak, so hopefully we will have some of that toastiness and maybe some nuttiness that will play nicely together with the coating of the fish. So let's start with wine. Quite interesting. I do feel fresh citrus fruits here. I feel, that fresh lemon, or maybe it is because I squeezed this and the lemon juice has filled the room as well. But you have those yellow plums, those sour plummy notes. And somewhere in the background, like white peach and maybe hint of toastiness. Very little, very delicate. All right, so wine is truly beautiful. It has this amazing mid palate. It is not austere. Sometimes there are a few white Bordeaux wines that for my taste are a bit too austere. This one shows beautiful mid-palate, beautiful length and texture. So I am expecting it to complement this dish quite nicely. So I am all about eating food with hands. It's not dry, so that's good. It is still really hot despite the fact that I was talking quite a lot. And the coating, I like it's not soggy, so that's the best thing we could expect. Really nice, really nice. Let's be civilized for a moment. Okay. All right, you guys, I really like this pairing. I think I hit the jackpot here. And a bit of that lemon that I squeezed before, it opens up the wine. It makes it more complex and richer in flavors. More fruits are coming out. And the toastiness and that oiliness of the coating here of this fish is actually beautifully paired with that quite full, not full body, but just full mid-palate of the wine. It is absolutely amazing that this is the last pairing of the day of the filming, so I can sit back and relax and enjoy both food and wine together. I will give this pairing 9.5 points and crown myself. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what are your favorite junk food, what is the one junk food that you hate, and let me know which pairing with which fine wine, it does not necessarily need to be fine wine, which junk food or fast food pairing with wine is your absolute favorite. Something that maybe I was not thinking about it here. And if you love this video, make sure to click on this video next.